द वे फॉरवर्ड इज थोड़ा बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैं थोड़ा होस्ट हरजोत सिंह। इस वेले न्यूयॉर्क विच इलेक्शन ਦਾ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਸਟੇਟ ਅਸੈਂਬਲੀ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 19 ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਸੰਜੀਵ ਜਿੰਦਲ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਈ ਸੀ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਹਨ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਸਟੇਟ ਸੈਨੇਟ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਮਿਸ ਐਨਾ ਕੈਪਲਾਨ, जो कि इस वेले एक प्रेजेंटली सर्विंग सेनेटर है, स्टेट सेनेटर फ्रॉम डिस्ट्रिक्ट 7। नाले साडे कोल शामिल हैं संजीव जिंदल जी अगेन, हु इज द कैंडिडेट फॉर डिस्ट्रिक्ट 19 फॉर द स्टेट असेंबली। सेनेटर कैप्लन, संजीव जिंदल जी, तोड़े दोनों दा यू आर बोथ वेरी वेरी वेलकम टू द शो।
थैंक यू सो मच जी।
Senator Kaplan, thank you so much for taking out the time. We understand this is a very busy time for you in the campaign. We have the primaries on August 23rd. Is that right?
That's very correct, Mr. Singh. Thank you very much for this opportunity for me to be able to connect with some of your members, some of your community leaders, some of your residents here in New York State.
Senator, most of us in this country are immigrants. Some are first generation, some have been here for longer. We all immigrants share a story, but your story is very compelling. And it's a story that is shared by a lot of our community members, in the Indian community, in the South Asian community. I understand you came here as a 13-year-old unaccompanied child refugee. Will you talk a little about that history, which the constituents need to know, so that they know that they have somebody who's like them sitting in this power?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Singh, I am a proud immigrant of this country. I, just like you, am living the American dream. I'm living my American dream. I came to this country at age 13 with 39 other young adults, and it took a couple of years before my parents were able to join me here in the United States and for us to unite. I went to high school, college, and then law school. I married a wonderful man and had 2 daughters and raised them here in Nassau County, gave them a wonderful public education. And during that time, I was asked to run for the library board in my community, and then served on the zoning board of town of North Hempstead zoning board for about a couple of years, ran for council person in town of North Hempstead, served for 7 years. And then in 2018, decided that it was really important for me to run for New York State Senate. I ran in 2018, was elected, and I started serving the 7th Senate District residents in New York State, in Albany, for the last 4 years. And I'm running for re-election this year again in November. And I do have a primary in August also, August 23rd.
Senator, your story is particularly encouraging. It's very inspirational. And what's we have had many unique success stories, but what makes it even more inspiring is your participation in the political system of the country. You not just came here and succeeded in a career, you actually ran for office and you get this opportunity to serve your constituents. I would like you to talk a little about why did you feel the need to enter active politics in this country?
So I have to say, what America stands for has always been a beacon of hope, a country that people could come from all over. Call this country their home. Work hard and make their American dreams come true. I remember often people asked me when I came to this country at age 13 whether I was nervous coming without parents and not really knowing the country, not speaking the language. And what I remember most is that I was just so excited about coming to America. I felt that I was coming to the greatest country on earth, where it would give me opportunity to do whatever I'd like to do. Yes, absolutely work hard, but also have those opportunities that I could take advantage of and make my dreams come true. My dream was to go to law school. And I did. I finished law school, and then I became a mother, and I decided to raise my kids. And I ran for office because I truly believe the elected should reflect the people of the community. I felt that we needed voices like mine, an immigrant, a political refugee, a woman, to be in New York State Senate. Often it's said decisions will always be made. It is important to have a seat at the table and make sure that our voices are being heard as well.
Sanjeev ji, we were having this discussion last week, and these are exactly the points that you emphasize. And I would say Senator Kaplan is a poster child of all that you were saying. Would you agree?
100% I am agree, and not only agree, and it's very difficult when you are a immigrant and you are a foster child living in this country and try to achieve the American dream, and it's very hard. And once you are attached with the ground, you face the ground realities, you are not a silver spoon baby, then you definitely know about your constituents, your public, your district, that what the problems they are facing. And if you know first-handed experience that what the problems you faced and your community is facing, and I believe that that is the wonderful step that you can take care of it once you are serving the public. You know their emotions. I did talk about the emotions on that day. Until unless you don't know the emotions, you cannot serve them. Absolutely agree, 100%.
Absolutely. And, I believe that the experience that Ms. Kaplan has gone through, a lot of members of our community, it resonates with them. They can identify that with that. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Until unless, you do, as I said earlier, that you don't have a first-hand experience, if you're born with a silver spoon, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to treat the people in your constituency. You know how to, service them. How, you need to know that what exactly they are looking for. If you have first-hand experience, then only you know the pain of that community, that what they are going through, what they are suffering, what their everyday needs are. Their kids are going to the public schools, how the public school, they need to drop it, they need to pick it up. Not even that one, what that education they are getting in the public school. You go through with that process with your kids also. So that is the things that until unless you are not going to attach with the grounds, it's not going to happen.
And I believe that is what explains the huge success that you have had as a senator. You have touched many lives. You have dealt with the issues, deal with our daily lives as community members. And we will talk about your successes, your issues as a senator that you have been dealing with for the last 2 years, 4 years now. Senator, on the other side of this break, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਦ ਵੇ ਫਾਰਵਰਡ। ਦ ਵੇ ਫਾਰਵਰਡ ਇਸ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੋਸਟ ਹਰਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਸਟੇਟ ਸੈਨੇਟ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ 7 ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ presently Senator Ms. Anna Kaplan ਨਾਲ ਔਰ District 19 New York State Assembly ਦੇ candidate Sanjeev Jindal ਜੀ ਨਾਲ। Senator, before going to the break, we said that, your closeness with the issues that the community deals with explains your success that you've had as a senator. I must congratulate you for all the issues that you have dealt with, which have improved our lives. I understand that you served as a chairperson of the Economic and Small Business Committee. Is that right?
That is correct. I chair Small Business, Economic Development, and Commerce in New York State.
Mm-hmm. Senator, it's very reassuring, to have a Democrat talk about small business, talk about tax breaks for the middle class, a cap on the New York, property taxes. Can you tell us a little more about the issues that you dealt with at the Senate?
Of course. First of all, let me say that I am truly privileged to do what I do, mm-hmm. to represent over 300,000 people in my district, but also this region, Long Island, and what we pass in New York State Senate impacts 20 million lives in state of New York. Mm. And I can tell you, this pandemic has been a huge hardship for all of our residents. And my district is not excluded. It's why we pushed really hard to get relief for our Long Island residents. Mm. We passed permanent property tax that saves taxpayers $200 billion over the next decade. Mm. We've also cut income tax for our residents, mm-hmm. the lowest rate that it's been for the last 70 years. I can tell you, this year in the budget, we put in $2.2 billion as tax relief, and an average of $1,387 check will go to the working families here and middle-class families here in Long Island. Mm. I know a lot of my residents work really hard, and they move to this district, and the taxes are high, but they want to make sure that they give the best life to their children. Yeah. I'm blessed to have some of the best schools, not only in New York State, but in this entire country. Public schools that really are fundamental in setting our children on a right path for their future. I will continue to do that. We've brought back record funding for our schools, and we want to make sure that we do the right thing for the public schools, but also do the right thing for our residents. Some of those residents who are our neighbors, our families, are business owners in our community. Mm-hmm. We have to work together to make sure we do right by them, especially mm-hmm. coming out of this pandemic. We want them to succeed. Those small businesses are the backbone of our communities, are the backbone of the state. And they will always have a champion in me, and I will always fight for them. Last year in our budget, we put in $800 million relief as grants, not as loans, for these small businesses to take advantage of. Mm-hmm. And this year, we put additional $250 million for these small businesses. Pandemic has been very difficult for them, but now we're hopefully putting the pandemic behind us, moving forward. We want to ensure that we give them the best tools to succeed, because their success means their business succeeds, they pay taxes in New York State, they hire people within the community, and that funding keeps going back in the community and gets invested in the community. So their success is really our success. Mm-hmm. And I will continue championing reliefs for those small businesses.
Senator, Recently there have been some decisions on the Supreme Court which have made all community members, everyone in the country, and everyone particularly in the state nervous when it comes to gun control, when it comes to overturning Roe v. Wade, and when it comes to making legislation regarding climate control difficult for the whole country. You have been championing gun control for a long time. In the light of this recent Supreme Court decision, which overturned a 100-year-old New York law, allowing open carry in this country, making it easier, what do you think the Senate needs to do, and what do you propose to do, particularly in light of this increase in mass shootings that we have seen in the last at least one decade?
So, as you and your members know, your audience know, mass shootings are happening in this country almost weekly. Mm-hmm. One of the prime reasons I ran for this office was because right after Parkland shooting, a bunch of 15-year-olds, high school students, reached out to me and asked for me to go to a rally and to hear them. They expressed in their rally how they were scared of going to school. They were in fear that one day someone with an AR-15 is going to walk in and start shooting at them. And they had asked for a meeting with their New York State senator, the sitting senator at the time, who refused to meet with them. As a mother who had a daughter in high school and had a daughter in college, my heart broke. The biggest fear that our children in high school should have is a physics test, a calculus test, not fearing for their lives, not fearing whether they're going to walk into a school in the morning, whether they're going to be able to walk out safe at the end of the day. It was right then and there that I decided I was going to run for this seat and do everything in my power to make sure our communities stay safe and pass legislation with the thought of our communities, our residents. In 2019, when I entered Senate, in the first month, we had a 10-package bill about sensible gun laws. We passed all of those, and I'm very proud to say my first bill on the Senate floor was a sensible gun law. Since then, we've done so many more, and we'll continue to do. And just like you said, in light of the Supreme Court decision of open carry, the governor asked us to have a special session. We all went back to Albany, and we passed another set of legislation, making sure that we are keeping our sensitive communities safe, and passed legislation to keep our malls, our houses of worship, our businesses gun-free. And if someone wants to carry a gun, they have to inform that business owner or the place that they're visiting, telling them that they have a gun with them. It is really crucial. I've heard so many times from so many residents in my district that they want sensible gun laws. We are not taking people's rights away, but we want to make sure whoever applies for a gun goes through a background check. We want to make sure that every gun that they have has a serial number so that our law enforcement can follow that serial number, that gun, and trace it. This is what makes our legislations here in New York sensible gun laws. And these are laws that 80%, majority of people in this country want.
Absolutely. Senator, we will continue this after a short break. ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ The Way Forward। The Way Forward is ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੋਸਟ ਹਰਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ। Yes, Senator, and as our candidate, Mr. Sanjeev Jindal, pointed out last time, that there might be a debate about some guns in the country, but there's no room for assault rifles and semi-automatic rifles on our streets and in our communities. They are weapons of war and they belong there, not in our communities. Senator, another issue, that has challenged the whole nation, that makes average community members afraid, scared, is the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And the scare is how far is it going to go? Is it going to end at abortion? Or the way the justices have claimed in that decision, particularly, that the decisions relating to abortion, to privacy, should be revisited. How do you look at the decision overturning Roe v. Wade?
So again, this is a topic that is very dear and near to my heart. Mm-hmm. As a woman, as a mother, again, this was something that I'm very passionate about. This was another topic that it was really very moving for me to decide to run for this seat. I remember 4 years ago when I was talking to people, I was telling them about my concern about Roe being overturned. And people ridiculed me. And they told me that this will never happen, that it's the law of the land. It's been the law of the land for 49 years. It will continue to be there. Mm-hmm. And that there was a fight, the fight was won, and now it's the law. And at that time, we had not codified in New York Roe. I ran because I wanted to make sure that we can flip New York State Senate and that we could codify Roe in New York State law. Mm-hmm. The Republican had always said we don't need to codify Roe in New York. Mm-hmm. Just recently, we've seen what the Supreme Court has done, and it showed the importance of codifying Roe in state of New York. Mm-hmm. I've been a champion for women and women's rights. I will continue to be that champion and will do everything in my power. It is imperative for us in state of New York to always be a leader, especially in this area. We want to make sure that we enshrine those laws in our Constitution here in state of New York. Again, when we went up to Albany for this emergency session, we passed equality right legislation. It's a legislation that has to pass 2 consecutive years. We passed it this year. We have to pass it again next year. And then it will go out for the residents' vote. And once it's voted on, it will become part of the Constitution of New York State.
Mm-hmm. Senator, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
No, it's okay. We passed a lot of laws to make sure that New York will always be a safe haven, not just for women in New York, but for any other woman from any other state that come to New York.
And do you plan on extending these protections to other vulnerable communities like LGBT rights?
Absolutely.
Rights, we feel even contraception is under challenge. Do you contemplate doing that?
We have and will continue to advocate for all of those rights. We've come a long way and we can't go backwards. We need to go forward. New York has always been the leader and will continue to be the leader.
Senator, was it any encouragement to see what has happened in Kansas recently?
Yes, last night's voting, and I think when people came out and voted, I believe 61%. Mm-hmm. And that 61% is not just Democrats.
Yes.
There's a lot of independent and there's a lot of Republicans who are speaking out, who are saying that what Supreme Court has done is an extreme view and that the residents of this country don't agree with that. It is not what they want. It is not what they need.
Senator, if we speak of some politics, do you think this issue is going to energize the Democrats for the incoming elections?
I believe this is a very important issue for all of the residents of this country, all of the people of this country. Mm-hmm. And I would hope that it is something that's very vital and that people all unitedly come out and speak very strongly in support of women and women's rights.
Mm-hmm. I understand Mr. Jindal wants to make a point. Yes, Mr. Jindal.
Thank you so very much, Harjot, that you bring that point from the Kansas. And I'm not hesitate to share that topic that Kansas is, from last so many years, that is a Republican state. And you know why they implement that constitution in the primary? Because they knows that there is a Republican primaries. There is not a Democrat primaries, okay? So why they did it? Because they knows that most of the Republicans are going to come out and vote for that bill. And they thought on that time that they're going to win on that seat, that role that they are going to go against the abortion. But guess what? The Republicans reject that one. That is 61% Republicans reject most of them. It means I'm not hesitant to say that I look like that Republican against women's right. I have nothing wrong on that one if I'm saying that, 61 by, you can see the numbers already in the Kansas state, and you can see that how long they are Republican state, and every time. So it is what it is. We definitely need to protect our families. We definitely need to protect our mother, our wife, our sister, our daughter. Definitely we need to stand there for their rights. So I am absolutely pro.
Mm-hmm. Senator, we always discuss this. We always feel that, a vast majority of the country, some would say even 80%, support these issues of, women's rights when it comes to abortion, the LGBTQ rights, gun control, several other issues. But still, these people have been on the receiving end, maybe because we have not been sending the right champions to these positions of power, to these legislatures. And that's why we bring candidates like you in front of a people, to express what you, believe, what you have always stood for, because it's very important for our people. I make this, appeal to our viewers that you can't sit back and, pass comments. You have to come out, and you have to come out on occasions, on elections like these primaries. Because if you come out in 4 years, you don't have your best candidates to stand with. They have been left behind somewhere in the primaries. That's the way this country works. Primaries are very, very important. We can't emphasize enough how important is this primary on August 23rd. People need to come out to see bahar aao, aake vote pao, apne chuninde candidate chuno, unade naal khade ho. That's very important for all our communities. Senator, there's one more thing. Yes.
If I may add, who
yes,
can speak to a woman's issue better than an elected who is a woman?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Senator, there are other issues we'll talk about on the other side of the break. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ The Way Forward. The Way Forward is ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ host Harjot Singh. Senator, we have seen an increase in hate crimes particularly against minorities in the whole country and in New York as well. What do you propose to do in the Senate to combat such a situation?
You're absolutely right, Mr. Singh. We have seen a very big uptick in hate crimes. And to be perfectly honest, it is really disturbing. New York is home to immigrants from all over the world that call this state their home. As a former child refugee, as a Jew, as a woman of color, I know firsthand the terror that vulnerable population experiences when violent hate crimes are on the rise. Mm-hmm. I've always been a champion, and I've taken an action to make sure that all of our residents are safe in our communities, in our schools, in our houses of worship. We all have to work together. New York has always been a state that has been very inclusive, has been welcoming immigrants from everywhere. We need to make sure that we send a message: we won't stand for hate in New York. That hate against one of us is hate against all of us. That we're all part of this tapestry that makes New York so special. And I think it is really important for us legislators to make sure we pass laws to deal with hate in a way that we can combat it. One of the ways is really education. I've been a very big supporter and advocate for a bill to teach about anti-Asian hate that we're dealing with, to teach about all the wonderful things that our Asian communities have done for our country and for our state, all of their contribution. Mm-hmm. We need to teach that to our children from kindergarten to 12th grade. We need to teach about the contribution of Jews. Mm-hmm. We need to teach about the history that we all have seen. Mm. And some of that history is not very easy to talk about. Slavery is not an easy topic. But you know what? We have to tackle it head on. We have to teach our children about that and make sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of past and that we learn from our history. I will always advocate for better education, and will continue to see how we can actually improve on it so that our children can learn about inclusivity, about tolerance, and about unity with people who are very similar but might have some differences than them.
Senator, you have a huge Indian and South Asian community in your constituency. What do you think are their issues, and how do you propose on addressing them?
So I have to tell you, I'm blessed with having a very diverse community in every way possible. And that's what makes this district so special. But I also have to tell you, we are so similar in every way possible too. We all want to be able to have a home, give our children and family a better life, work hard, make sure our children succeed, and giving them the best tools possible. Our needs are all the same. We all want to work hard, and we all want to succeed, and we all want to make our American dream come true. Mm-hmm. We all share that. And how wonderful would it be for all of us to share in our similarities, but also learn from each other's culture, music, food, things that could actually bring us together.
Yes, and make our life much more colorful.
Yes.
Mr. Jindal, as you pointed out last time, we are still a new community, new kids on the block, and particularly our community members, they come out in 4 years vote for, vote in the presidential elections. They don't vote in these state assembly and senate elections, and particularly fail to vote in the primaries. We saw a huge participation of the community last year in the primaries, and a lot of credit goes to you for bringing out the people. But I would like you to tell our people again, emphasize, why is it so important to come out and vote in these primaries?
Thank you, Mr. Singh. As Senator said, that New York has a place for everyone, and New York has no place for hate. If you cannot love, you cannot hate. Trust me on that. It's a melting pot. New York State is a melting pot. Different color, different religions, different languages, different faces look like. We all live together here, and we happily live together. And there is no place for hate in New York State. Absolutely, not even in the United States. I come as an immigrant in 2003, and since then I'm living here in New York State. I feel a proud citizen of United States. So absolutely, whenever we talk about the hate or any hate crime happen, it's a, heart breaks up. And there is few incident happens where my office is in the Richmond Hill. We definitely advocate for that one. We caught the people who did that. They have, as Senator said, we need to educate. They have lack of education, that who we are, how we behave, what values we are coming from. It's a values, it's a stand for, right? Once we are going to look at that one, what is the problem that why we are not coming out and vote? Even in the starting, I even don't know that, because the land I got immigrated here, that land has a voting pattern after every 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. So that thing is stuck also in our back of the head, that every 5 years the voting years, or every 4 years is the voting years, right? So whatever we got when we are, studying, when we are growing up, when we are studying in the high schools and colleges, that's exactly what we got it. But now here, when we look at the landscape here, every single year is the election year. Every single June, mid of the June is the election primary, and every single year is the general election is in the November. So now we are start educating them. We are doing empowerment, and we are doing the the small sessions, putting our community together. That is exactly what we are doing it now. So that is why, if you look at the last election that I ran for, most of the people come out and vote for first time ever in their life. So we need to continue that process. Even we have a lot of non-for-profit organizations. We have a lot of religious organizations. We definitely need to advocate on that institutions, that we need to guide our community. We need to work hand to hand with our community. So they need to come out every single year. If they are going to come out, then only we are going to get recognized. Then only we are going to be a part of the system. Then only the policies are going to be drafted. That is going to be drafted for us. How our emotion is going to be taken care. I understand that I always take so much time whenever the empowerment issues comes up. I have lot of stuff to talk. We need to organize the town halls time to time with the communities, with the different colors, different religions, different background. So everyone has to be chance to pick their own favorite candidate.
No, Mr. Jindal, absolutely. Senator Kaplan, as I said in the beginning, you are a poster child of all that Mr. Jindal is saying. You have gone through this, and you have stood for it, and you have seen the success. Can you, in your own words, tell our community, which is still a new community in this country, why is participation in the political system, in the civic system, so important?
It is important because everyone should have a seat at the table. Electeds are elected to be the voice of the people and to make sure that they can do whatever it may be, whether small or big, to make a difference in everyone's daily life. It is really the electeds who have to be responsible in advocating what their residents want. And they should be held accountable. I can't tell you that we should all agree 100% of the time on 100% of the issues, but your elected should hear from you about the things that are important to you, about things that matter to you, and represent you, whether it's in village government, town government, county, state, or federal.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, your voices will only be heard if you go out and vote. I am truly blessed to do what I do. It is difficult, especially now, because we are so divided in this country, but it is imperative to be a moderate, to come to the middle and work with everybody and try to get things done for your residents, for your constituents.
Senator, I thank you so much for taking out the time today. I thank you for your service, for the way you have stood for the middle class, you have stood for all New Yorkers, and the way you have stood along with our community in particular. Sanjeev ji, thank you so much for coming on the show again. I wish both of you the very best of luck for your campaigns, and I hope our community comes out and votes. And we'll say this to the community: you can vote whatever way you want, but you need to come out and vote. And as the senator said, because you need a seat on the table. Thank you so much. We'll take your leave. AC Sada Ajda Show. Tusi Vegdero, the way forward.